Right, so now let's move on to the collective automatic mind. This is an energy that has become physical, although not as solid as matter, but it still takes space and time because it's supposed to be setting the collective agreements, or rather the operative rules of physicality. So in a way, it kind of matches it. And this is where you find things such as gravity and how we work within gravity. This is the level at which those kind of agreements are set. Now, by making it part of the automatic collective mind, um, it means that we individually don't have to consciously think about it every time. Let's say, for example, gravity. Because imagine if you and I had to think of the gravity rules consciously all the time. It would just make your life so difficult. I mean, you wouldn't even have space for thinking anything else or doing anything else. So that's why it's built into nature as part of the mind part that is in the collective automatic mind level. And so decisions are somewhat made behind the scenes according to the rules of operation. So in a way that's cool, because then it frees us from having to manage this ourselves consciously. Then you come down to the next consciousness level, which is the individual automatic mind. And like we said, these are the individual themes of your life. And this is an energy that has become physical, again, not as solid as matter, but it still takes space and time. Now, this sets the specific themes that you will play in your life that are unique to you. So this, you could say, is another destiny level, and your free will operates within that destiny. So for example, your theme may be to explore new spiritual concepts, or to transform certain types of negativity, or maybe you came down here to do something within the agricultural field or the business or health areas, you know and so on. And this is also where you find that your talents or inborn gifts are. So they are somewhat set in the individual automatic mind, the theme, the theme level of your life, right? Now, continuing again with the individual automatic mind level, you can also say that patterns and archetypes and many of your habits of your behavior are at this level. Not all of them. I mean, there's some habits that you pick up. Let's say you'll pick a habit up next week, and within 5 weeks you've dropped that habit. So that's not in the automatic mind level. I'm talking about those things that everyone says, look, he's always had this since he just was a little baby. He didn't even have to be taught that habit. It just was always in him or her. That level. And also archetypes. For example, you might find that some people are, by their archetype, they're just born leaders or born martyrs or born judges or born, they just inhabit a certain kind of pattern, you could say, from birth. And that's the kind of role that they play throughout life in different ways. So how do you discover what your individual life theme is? How do you find out what is in your automatic mind level? And by the way, you can change these things. These things are not set in stone, never to be changed. They do transform. The whole point of life is transformation. So even though it might say collective automatic mind level or individual automatic mind level, or even template level, they can be edited. Yeah. And the reason why you come to Earth is to experience so many of these levels and transform them into the next higher thing. They are also growing. Through you, they are growing. Through all of us, they are transforming and changing. And they could transform very slowly over many people's lifetimes, or depending on you, because in a way you live in your own reality, they could transform at your speed. It depends on what belief systems you're plugged into. Anyways, so how do you find out what your individual life themes are? These are typically the issues that cause you excitement, for example, your passions or your gifts, your strengths and interests, but also reveal negative beliefs while you're following that excitement. Yeah? For example, if you really like, let's say, XYZ, that representing whatever you want it to represent. If you like XYZ, but you are afraid or doubtful or stuck whenever you want to move towards XYZ, then you can be very confident that that's your theme. Yeah, because life is about transformation, transforming the shadow into the light, and then that light into the next level of light, and so on. Transformation, transforming, transforming, transforming. That's what life is about. So you have to overcome your fear or your doubt or whatever it is, so that you can truly live that thing which you're excited about. And so that's one way of knowing what lies in your theme as well. Alright, so let's move on to the physical mind now. And we're at the unconscious level. Again, remember, do not think that because it says unconscious that it lies deep within and below, to a level where you have to dig deep. You see, you don't need to go down to find your beliefs. You actually need to go up, because remember, your beliefs are still higher than your conscious thoughts. But anyways, again, this is physical matter. Actually, now this is the first level of physical matter we're talking about, and it takes space and time, of course. Now, technically speaking, a belief is a thought that you think about repeatedly, but it lies below your conscious awareness. And the word below, I really want to be careful with using the word below, because people think that they have to then dig downwards to find what their beliefs are. Actually, you have to rise up to find what your beliefs are, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, so although technically speaking a belief is a thought, and the only difference is that you think about it repeatedly, but then in a place which is not within your conscious awareness, they actually, you could say, come from the template level. Yeah, and they're higher in vibration than the thoughts that you think about consciously every day. And in order to see your beliefs, you need to raise your vibration, therefore, never to lower it, not deeper down, but higher up in frequency. And once you are able to, once you bring a belief into conscious awareness, then it frees you. You are released from it. You can change it. Sometimes you even realize maybe it's a stupid belief that doesn't make any sense, and so you transform it. So making a belief conscious helps you release yourself from its unconscious grasp. So now let's go to the emotions level. Once again, it's physical matter that takes space and time. And most of us are not consciously aware of our feelings or our emotions, and we can interchange, for the sake of this discussion, we can interchange the word feelings and emotions. Okay, so hence we can say that they are not, that they are subconscious, or rather just below our awareness, but this does not mean that they are of a lower frequency than your conscious thoughts. Yeah, it just simply means that maybe we are hiding from them, or we don't want to experience them, and so on and so forth. Right? Now let's go to the one that everyone is most familiar with, the thought level. Again, physical matter takes space and time. Our conscious thoughts are linear and time-based. We are quite aware of what's going on in our heads. I mean, sometimes actually you daydream and you don't even know what you're thinking about. But if you were to stop and say, hey, what am I thinking about? You really can observe it. It's not really hidden. It's not like a belief where you have to really shift your energy level to understand what you're believing. This one is just just right in your face. Yeah, but you have to understand that although we have come to respect mind power so much, this thought level is actually the lowest level in the 9 levels of consciousness, and it is not in charge, at least not in the sense that most people think it is. In fact, what it is designed for is for perception, to see, to perceive experiences, and to choose from what you've seen. So this level of thought doesn't directly create. In fact, it cannot create, although we are told positive thinking works, not in the direct sense that you think of it, that it might work. You see, you can only use conscious thought to experience physical reality, and then to choose within physical reality. However, to change physical reality, you must focus your thoughts in an imaginative way, for imagination and choice. What does that mean? Remember, the one that actually creates your experience in physicality is your higher mind. How do you communicate with your higher mind? Through imagination. You can call it visualization or whatever. Imagination, visualization, call it the same thing. But that is a conduit that connects your physical mind of conscious thoughts with the higher mind. Pure and simple imagination, visualization. That's how you make your physical world. You image your new nation. Imagination, image nation. Yeah. And then when your physical world is giving you things that you're perceiving, you choose the right way. So for example, if you should go left, and maybe you're a little bit scared of going left, but you should go left, make the right choice by going left. Does that sound confusing? Choose properly and go left. Make choices that support and are in line with, with integrity with who you wish to be next. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is that it's not the sound that goes on in your head. It's not exactly the one that's creating, it's the higher mind. But the way it's creating is by passing the higher mind with an imagination. And the higher mind doesn't choose. It doesn't choose, not in that sense. Yeah. So if you're imagining all the time disasters, the higher mind will create disaster for you on earth. If you're imagining good times, the higher mind will create good times for you on earth. It might not look exactly like the pictures you used when you're imagining, or it might not come in the way. In fact, most of the time it doesn't come in the way you imagined, but the vibration will match. Now, your physical mind, like we've said, communicates with your higher mind using the conduit of imagination. So, all you have to do is use your thoughts to imagine what you wish to experience next and let the higher mind arrange it in the best possible way. And then make your choices with integrity with who you choose to be in the next moment. Don't just react like a victim. All right? And your higher self communicates back with you using the conduit of excitement. So this is how the higher mind lets you know that you should go this way and not that way. It makes you excited. So whenever something excites you, follow it. And usually the higher mind is not going to tell you what this excitement is going to lead to. It doesn't give you that answer in advance. Think about it. You don't know what's coming tomorrow, right? And it doesn't give you information that you don't need to know until the point exactly that you need to know that information. You're pretty much on a need to know basis, yeah? So the thing that makes us not have good lives is that we are afraid to follow our excitement. We've got some kind of belief that if we follow our excitement, it's gonna hurt or damage us or whatever, and it really, whatever. It's just ridiculous. But trusting your excitement, does that mean you're not gonna have challenges? Of course you'll still have challenges, but it takes you to the right path. Remember, your higher self is not interested in hurting you. It will never hurt you. Okay? But sometimes you need to have courage to follow your excitement. So follow your excitement, always follow your excitement, even when it seems unconnected to anything else that makes sense. Remember, the higher self does not think in terms of logic or reason, or rather human logic or reason. It's on such a, you could say, divine level that, space and time, for example, don't even affect it. It's looking at the whole picture. So don't just imagine that it's going to it thinks in the human way of logic and reason. But anyways, excitement is your vehicle that shows you where the higher self is leading you. Excitement, passion, joy, gratitude, creativity, love, passion again, all those are the same as excitement. And if you notice, they are up vibrations. They go upwards. They go upwards. Yeah? They don't go down. In other words, it's not a depressive thing. It's an expressive go up. So any of these, joy, gratitude, creativity, all those can be grouped as excitements. Yeah? And that's how you listen to what your higher self is trying to tell you. And not only that, it's your excitement is your personal frequency. If let's say you're on a radio station, and let's say every one of us is, Your personal frequency is your excitement. When you're excited, that's when you know you're in your personal frequency. Okay? So we got a lot to say about thought level because that's the one we're most familiar with and that's one we most get stuck at. Now, so if you have, let's say, any questions about life, ask. How? Using imagination. It's I don't know, imagine how life would be if you already had the solution to your problem, for example. Yeah, just get creative, but that's how you ask, and it's always already given to you. Once you ask and you open yourself, you open your mind and everything, then the answer comes. But always remember this important key again and again: everything else is up. Thought level is the lowest of the 9 levels. Do not try to go down for anything. Don't try to lower your vibration to dig deep and find your beliefs. It won't work. You'll find nothing but frustration and more frustration and more frustration and more frustration. So the only way to get anything, whether it's you want to discover your beliefs or you want to communicate with your higher self, you get an up vibration. Okay? How? Once again, we said gratitude is a great way. Joy, love, excitement, all those are up vibrations. Okay? Now let's quite understand why we keep saying up. Remember, we said in the earlier part of this video that the higher the frequency, the higher the levels go, and the lower the frequencies, the lower the levels go, just like water, ice, water, and steam. Okay? So the down vibration was built by life to crystallize energy into matter. Yeah? That is what it was built for. It was also built to fake or create the illusion of separation and the illusion of forgetfulness. That is what the down vibration was built for. Create physical matter and a sense of separation and forgetfulness. Okay? Therefore, when you lower your vibration, when you try and dig down to find what your beliefs are and understand the reason why your life is, you will never find the answer. It's always not gonna end up giving you anything but conflict and negativity and depression. So again and again and again, go up in vibrational frequency to discover your beliefs, etc. The down vibration was created to crystallize physicality and simulate forgetfulness and separation for the sake of physical experience. Always go up to change things or go up to get answers. How? Using your excitement, your gratitude, your imagination, letting go. Very important. Open-mindedness. That means you're not insisting on a particular thing. You're just open, you're trusting, you're accepting, you're loving. And that is why it's called enlightenment. If it was the other way around, it could be called enheavyment. But it was not called enheavyment. It was called enlightenment. Right, now let's look at the whole structure of the physical reality as it is. Now, physical reality is simply a mirror. And sometimes it's a mirror with a time delay, but it's a mirror of your, in quotes, inner life. Yeah? So you can think of your external world as a mirror of your internal world. When you change within, it changes automatically, effortlessly. But you can never manipulate it directly any more than you can manipulate the reflection in a mirror directly. If you go to a mirror and you look at yourself in the mirror and you're not smiling, you cannot force the mirror image of you to smile unless you smile. Then automatically the mirror image smiles. Automatically. Yeah. Now sometimes you might seem to see as if there's a time delay. Now that you might change internally today and then think, hey, how come my life outside world still hasn't changed? Yeah. Sometimes there seems to be a time delay for that change to reflect, and there's always good reason. Okay? There's always good reason. Don't worry about the time delay. Do not concern yourself about it, because for one reason, for example, it is not the outside appearances that prove that you have changed. If the outside appearances haven't changed and you have changed, but then you go about complaining and saying, that didn't work, that already proves you haven't changed. So it is your inner response to the outside that proves that you have changed. Let's say something outside of you used to bug you for the last 10 years, and then you change inside. Tomorrow you see that same thing. This time it doesn't bug you. See, that proves it has changed. And the next day it doesn't bug you. So you're like, hey, this thing doesn't bug me anymore. But then the week after, you won't even notice it. It will disappear. It will have gone. So that's what I mean by the time delay. It's not necessarily instant unless you're already at that level of, you might say, enlightenment. But if you're not yet there, there will be a time delay quite often. Yet, after a lot of practice in these things, you'll start to see synchronous or instantaneous changes. The time delay will disappear. Okay. Now, another thing about the ego we need to mention is that the ego is simultaneously created when physical reality is created. They are created together at the same time. Remember, its function, the ego's function, is to perceive physicality and enable you to focus on it. If you did not have ego, you would not get that sense of space, time, and self. That's why you need an ego, but do not use it for things that it's not built for, right? So, for example, the ego cannot conceive. It cannot create. It can only perceive what's happening. So when you start trying to use the ego to conceive or to create, you start playing power games with your ego, you only you just really stress that system because it wasn't built for that. And sooner or later it will do things such as get you depressed, or maybe split your personality, or bounce back in a nasty way, so you develop a negative ego. So, and then you're not going to achieve anything positive really with that. So you're stressing your ego and you try and use it to create or to to conceive. That's the job of your higher self. Again, you ask of your higher self to do it for you using your imagination, and then your higher self will lead you using excitement. And you remain open to receiving by keeping an open mind, being grateful, gratitude, and all that sort of stuff. So, like we said, the ego is a wonderful tool when you use it for what it's built for, but it's a terrible master and a handicap when you use it for what it wasn't built to do. Now, we've done with all those levels. Let's talk about something very exciting, something called change. Change, change, change. Change is the only constant. Change is the only constant. Change is amazing. You've heard of that before. And when I'm talking about changes that happen in life, anything from whether it's like, your day-to-day lives, or the change in the universe, or change in a moment, in a second. Now, these are the rules of change. It's very important because they directly affect the they really relate to the 9 layers of reality, and they help you understand how to use that information properly. So change is instant, whole, total. Okay? What does it mean? Instant. It means it takes no time. There is zero delay. Remember what we said about the building blocks of the universe. It's quantum physics tells us that it's energy. Energy does not take time or space to change. It simply flashes in and out of existence into anything that it needs to change into. Therefore, all change, regardless of appearance, is instant. If you think that maybe, it's taking you 10 years to make a change, that's because you're doing it so slowly that the changes are so tiny that they're imperceptible. But each one of those tiny changes is instant. And by a big change would also be instant. But we'll get to that. Also, it's whole. It means, what does that mean? It means in its entirety at all levels. That means from all the 9 levels of consciousness, change happens in whole, on all the 9 levels. It doesn't change only on one level, or half of it, or maybe for half the people or whatever. It changes in whole as it needs to change. And then it's total. What that means is nothing remains of the old at all, despite appearance. It's a total reconstruction. So you say, what about your body? Your body is literally changing instantly, whole, totally, billions of times a second. Billions of times a second. Because you have to remember what the building blocks are. the energy quantum packets. They are flashing in and out of your existence, or existence to be you, billions of times a second. But the increment is so tiny that you don't even notice that it even happened. But what about miracles? Miracles are when the increment is so huge that you notice it happen. But it's not any more difficult or less difficult to do a miracle or a slow change. The level of difficulty is the same. In terms of life, it's the same. To you, it might appear that it's more difficult to do a miracle and not so difficult to go through things slowly. But those are based on your beliefs. The change, there is no order of difficulty when it comes to the quantum level. There is no order of difficulty. The order of difficulty lies in you, what you've believed in, what you've decided to be true. All change is instant, whole, and total. Yeah, it happens billions and billions of times a second. You can look this up with any physicist. At the quantum level, that's what's happening. Information is being exchanged universally, and quanta state is changing universally from the smallest to the largest level, billions of times a second. Okay? Quantum physics proves this. Right. Like we've said, quantum packets, these are the building blocks of everything that we know of in the physical world. And of course, in the non-physical, we've already seen that there is no time and space at those other levels of consciousness. So with that in mind, you have to understand that these energy packets flash in and out of existence billions of times a second to create physical life. You yourself, since you started looking at this sentence, you've changed already billions and billions and billions of times a second. Totally, holistically, instantly, each time. Nothing was left behind. It's just that you are reconstructed the same way as before because you did not change that information. Because you did not change the information, you're reconstructed the same way, so it seems like you didn't change. But that's how it goes, on and off, 1 and 0, from neutrality to reality, absolute to relative, over and over and over again. Nothing remains of the old reality with each flash. Continuity is an illusion. Every moment is completely new, and on all levels of reality is parallel to yours. This is happening, and we're talking about your past, present, future. All of them are connected. All of them are exchanging information. All of them are changing billions of times a moment. All of them simultaneously in the here now, all the time, all at once, over and over again. Yeah. And this is what the Oversoul is experiencing, a universal network of exchange of information and energy across all dimensions in perfect timing. And it is both digital and quantum. Right? So change depends on information. Like we said, if information is not changed, the change will all happen in totality, but it will be so minute that it will look as if it didn't happen. But information is always being transferred using the path of least resistance, and as is requested or asked for. And just like water follows the easiest path, so does information. Now here comes how sometimes we mess this up. First, we believe that we don't change. We believe that we are solid mass and that we are fixed and that we are messed and cursed in one position, that's one problem. So the change is happening, but it's happening so minute to comply with our beliefs. Number two, we insist that the changes that we desire come in a particular way and time. What we don't know is that what the ego is perceiving is so shallow, so linear and humanized that it will never come that way. So if you open and let go and be open and you say, I don't mind whichever way the change comes, I'm open for anything, the higher self will always find the path of least resistance to you. What is that path? It could be anything. It all depends on your beliefs, your templates, your theme, mostly your beliefs actually. But it could be as instant as a miracle, or it could go slow as you believe it should go. All right? And if you insist on a particular form and that's not the path of least resistance, then again you nothing will happen for you, you know. So like we said, if you don't notice change, it means the difference between the new and the old state is so minute that you didn't notice it, but it still happened instantly, totally, holistically. All right, so if you want to see quantum leaps of change, miracles, don't hold on to your beliefs. Let go. And remember, physical reality happens within our consciousness, not outside of it. Feel this, imagine this, sit down, let it anchor within your being until it becomes second nature. Practicing reality in this 9 levels system format until it becomes your natural way of seeing life, until it becomes second nature, and you'll see that you'll become a much more powerful, deliberate creator of your reality. And this information was extracted from A Happy Pocket Full of Life. Thank you.